Hello everyone, my name is Jason and I will be presenting our paper titled Concerned but Ineffective: User Perceptions, Methods, and Challenges when Sanitizing Old Devices for Disposal. In this paper, we look at the privacy concerns surrounding when consumers dispose of old devices. Modern electronic devices have a short life cycle and are frequently disposed of. To prevent data leaks and privacy concerns, devices should be sanitized, which means to remove personal data and ensure there is a low probability of recovery. In 2003, Garfinkel and Shalat found that sensitive information can often be found on disposed of hard drives. More recent research has found that this to be the case for smartphones as well. We explore why users fail to properly sanitize their device when disposing of them. To holistically explore this, we came up with several research questions. First, how do consumers dispose of their old devices? Next, how do consumers prepare their devices for disposal? And to answer the why, we wanted to see what barriers consumers face when trying to sanitize their device. We answered these questions through an online survey followed by semi-structured interviews. More on the first two questions can be found in the paper. Garfinkel and Shalat provide possible explanations for why users fail to sanitize their hard drives before disposal. We examine these possible explanations in light of our findings. We found evidence to support lack of training. 12 participants simply deleted data, and 5 of these participants reported it was the only sanitizing method known to them. 6 participants reported not being able to sanitize their device because they no longer function or were broken in some way. We observed that the widespread use of manual deletion was coupled with the misunderstanding that it was a secure sanitizing choice. We attribute this to tool error, as the prompts in many delete functions are misleading to the average user. On the other hand, we were unable to find evidence for some of Garfinkel and Shalat's explanations. All participants seem to understand the problem with leaving personal data on the devices they are disposing of. Also, today, sanitizing tools are widely available and often built into different operating systems. The issue doesn't appear to be a lack of tools, but more that some of these tools are difficult to access. For instance, macOS requires users to boot into recovery mode to find the disk erase tools. Through our semi-structured interviews, we identified other barriers to secure sanitizing. First, several participants complained of what we call the side effects of sanitizing. While it might make sense to zero-fill a hard drive before selling it, if one did this to a hard drive in a computer, the computer is left without an operating system, which can then impact the sale of the device. We also saw this with cameras, where the most secure method was to remove the memory card, but then the purchaser wouldn't be able to use the device until they bought a new memory card. Other participants complained of a slow sanitizing process. In the case of this participant, they couldn't even complete their insecure method of sanitizing as it took so long. 7 of the 12 participants that manually deleted data reported missing some of their data, such as browsing history, saved passwords, or application credentials. Lastly, we provide some suggestions to the relevant stakeholders to improve device sanitizing practices. For device and operating system manufacturers, we suggest rectifying any misleading prompts and ensure that users have access to the relevant information on the built-in tools at the right moment, rather than having to find it buried on a support website. For retailers or anywhere that accepts secondhand devices, provide policies to ensure that the consumer is clear on who is sanitizing the device and what happens to the device once it is dropped off. For recyclers, increase consumer awareness for secure sanitizing to make consumers more likely to recycle their devices. And for researchers, a tool can be developed that can recognize when the user is preparing a device for disposal, such as when they're deleting many files, and nudge the user to properly sanitize it instead. In conclusion, our work sheds light on why personal data is left on disposed of devices. Please see the paper for more on the different disposal and sanitizing methods, how users sanitize non-functioning devices, and user perceptions and misconceptions when sanitizing devices. Thank you for listening.